partnered with TaxNodes recently. TaxNodes is a platform that helps you calculate your crypto taxes accurately. But we'll talk more about it during the session. But before that, I'll introduce you to my speakers for today, who are Avinash Shekhar, the founder and CEO of TaxNodes, and Raja Gopal Menon, the vice president of WazirX. Let's talk a little bit about the background. I'm sorry, is there a link in my video?
No.
No, I think it's okay.
Okay, sorry. From my end, there was something. Oh, okay. So before we go into our introduction for our speakers, let me just tell you a little bit about the Indian crypto ecosystem. We have witnessed a very eventful past few years in crypto, and in 2021, we saw this really interesting bull market, which also peaked crypto adoption in India. There were a lot of new investors who came on board, who gained a lot from trading, etc. But also in 2022, we saw the onset of bear market, which was again a tumultuous event. And right before the bear market started, we also saw the Indian government impose taxation on virtual digital assets, or crypto as we know it. So what happened as a result of imposition of taxes is a lot of confusion happened among investors about how to file their taxes, what is it that they are set to gain from their trades, etc., and what will they be taking home after filing the taxes, and what is it that they will be left with at the end of the year. And as a result of that, I think a lot of people also sort of started backing out of crypto because they didn't find a lot of clarity. But I think eventually people got hold of it and started doing, their own research and diligence. And as a result of that, the Indian government reported a total of rupees 157 crore in tax returns from crypto in FY 22-23. But that isn't all. So we don't know how accurately people have been calculating their taxes yet, and how much clarity there exists in the market, especially among investors who are coming on board of late, and what is it that we can do to help them. So, as a trading platform, WazirX decided to partner with TaxNodes, who enable computation of tax calculation and do it in an accurate manner so that investors don't have to worry about doing it manually themselves. Now, let's just go to our speakers and have them introduce themselves a bit. Avinash, maybe we can start with you. Since you're the founder of TaxNodes, maybe talk a little bit about yourself, your journey, and what is it that you're doing right now at TaxNodes?
Yeah, thanks, Amna. So my name is Avinash, and first of all, I'm really excited to be here, and really excited on this partnership with the WazirX. I think together we can help the customers, we can help the ecosystem, crypto ecosystem in India. A short background: I'm a chartered accountant, qualified like 24 years back, 1998, and mostly obviously been in finance leadership roles in various companies. My crypto journey started in 2017 actually, and obviously I've seen lots of ups and downs in crypto space, as you were saying, now I'm building TaxNodes. The purpose is, and we'll go into detail, I think the purpose is to really help the customers to solve this relatively complex puzzle of filing their taxes, computing their taxes on crypto.
Awesome. We are very excited to have you with us here. Raj, I think most viewers would already know you because you have been here before on WazirX's YouTube channels, etc. But maybe you can just talk a little bit about yourself before we move on to the questions.
Yeah, thanks, Ramana. Awesome to have Avinash on board on this call. So I'm Raj, and I am Vice President at WazirX. At WazirX, I look after marketing. I look, HR, and a host of other functions. Before this, I was a part of the team that launched Geo. So I've been a part of the largest startup in India, whose aim was to put a 4G connection in the hands of every Indian. And then now I'm with WazirX. The aim of WazirX is to make crypto accessible to every Indian. So that's about it from me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raj, for the introduction. So Let's talk a little bit about the crypto ecosystem in India right now before we get into tax calculation and all the intricacies of that. So, what, in your opinion, is the current scenario of crypto in India? Like, how do you see it, sort of phase out for traders as well as crypto organizations? Is it a conducive environment for them? Is it a tough environment to operate? What are your thoughts on this? So, Avinash, you can go first.
Yeah. So a little bit of history actually. First on crypto. If you historically, if you look at from a regulation and government, how the government sees a crypto. Uh, if you go back 5-6 years, there was always like a some kind of concern from the government side because obviously it's a new industry and it takes time for the regulation to catch up. So we had a situation in 2018 when RBI said that banks are not allowed to basically deal with crypto companies. Industry went to the Supreme Court. We won the case there. Everything restarted in early 2020 when the Supreme Court decision came, and that was also the cycle where the crypto prices started moving up, kind of. So initial 2 years were obviously very conducive for the industry. Lots of new innovations happened. Lots of billion-dollar companies were created at that point of time. Okay, and then obviously last year government came out with clarification on the, or like not clarification. Basically, they said that okay, we'll trap or we'll tax crypto in a certain way, basically, which was a welcome decision in a way, but they were obviously mixed bags. 1% TDS came, which had an impact, which is we believe is counter to what government was thinking or what the government's intention was. Obviously, government raised taxes there, but we saw lots of volume moving away from the exchanges. Okay, and what we believe at least is that a large part of that volume which has moved away from Indian exchanges have actually not gone down. It has like gone into P2P or foreign crypto exchanges. So that's the situation right now. And again, government brought PMLA regulations some time back, which is again I think is a step towards the right direction in terms of regulating crypto. My view is that we are moving obviously towards regulations. The pace may be slower than what we like, but I think we have to give time to the government to make up their own mind and support the government and the ecosystem so that everyone wins basically. We are able to do innovations, generate employment, but at the same time take care of the concerns of the government.
Right. Well said, Avinash. Raj, maybe you want to add to this?
I think Avinash has covered most of the important points. What I would like to add is that in this budget, the government has added a couple of interesting sections. So if you are an Indian resident, you have to pay 1% TDS. If you are, transacting on Indian exchanges, the moment you move to foreign exchanges, you have to pay 5% TDS, if I'm not wrong. Also, if you don't pay TDS and the government finds out later, you could be in jail. So it's a tricky position for a lot of people who think that you can avoid paying tax. Because if you've noticed the pink papers and if you read the pink papers, I think the obsession with this government is to do tax maximization. They want to generate as much as revenue as possible for their welfare schemes, which is just fine. And as honest tax abiding citizens, I think it is important for all of us to understand that if we want a good night's sleep, trying to save TDS should be the least of our problems. The government has done a lot of things to improve our IT filings, but I don't think any one of us would like to get a notice and then spend a lot of man hours explaining to the tax department why we haven't paid TDS or why is our TDS incorrectly calculated.
I think it's very important to note that, if you are not a part of an exchange which deducts TDS automatically at source, you have to be responsible and ensure that it is being deducted at some point so that it does reflect in your tax returns and then you're not penalized, right? Raj said. I think now we can just talk a little bit about taxation in India. I think a lot of articles have been published over the last 1 year, ever since the whole regulation about tax came into being. But maybe we can just get into the finer aspects of it, like what they are, like 30% tax on gains and then 1% TDS and all of those. So maybe just talk a little bit about that so that whoever's viewing this can sort of jogs their memory and they have a better idea before we proceed further. So Avinash, maybe you can talk a little bit about it and then Raj can add to that.
So actually, starting point is that when I talk to people, there is a very big misnomer or misinformation that taxation on crypto started from 1st April 2022. Okay, what happened on 1st April 2022 is that government created a special category or special taxation for crypto. Doesn't mean that if you're trading in crypto from last 4 or 5 years, you're not liable to pay tax. You were liable to pay tax even earlier under normal tax laws, whether it's capital gains, income from other sources. What when I talk to people, they either have them convince themselves that the tax was not applicable. So just one clarification, the tax was always applicable. Now, what the government did last year, 3-4 things they have done, and one is obviously 30% tax on profits, basically whatever profits you earn on crypto. Second is that set off is not allowed. So that means, which basically means is that if you are, let's say, making profit in Bitcoin and loss in Ethereum, okay, you can't set it off, basically. And so let's say if you made 100 rupees of profit on Bitcoin and 40 rupees of loss on Ethereum, you still have to pay tax on 100 rupees, not on 100 minus 40, that is 60 rupees. Third main thing is that carry forward of losses are not allowed. That means under normal income, let's say if you are doing a business or any other activity, if there is a loss, you can carry forward the loss to next year, which means that, for example, if you have made a loss of 50 rupees this year, next year you made a profit of 200 rupees, then next year only you have to pay tax on balance 150 rupees, not on the entire 200. So that is also not allowed. You have to pay tax on the entire 200 rupees of profit. And obviously, as Raj mentioned, that now this year again they have brought in on the foreign exchange, because that was a loophole in a way that people were actually started transacting on foreign exchanges instead of Indian exchanges. So the government has brought 5% TDS there, which is the responsibility of the person who is trading. So these are, I think, the main themes of the current tax regime, so to say. And we makes it complicated also in a way, because an average user is not able to do this.
No, thanks for simplifying this, Avinash, actually. So this is helpful. Raj, do you want to add anything to it, about the taxation in India? Is there anything that you would like to add on to what Avinash said?
So, Mona, what I'd like to add is that, there was this very interesting thread that I read some time ago. I think Rahul Sanghi, I've forgotten his name, a big crypto influencer.
Naimesh, I think.
Yeah, Naimesh Sanghi, correct. Thanks.
Yes.
So Naimesh had written about his experience, with regard to crypto taxation. So it was very, very illuminating, because one thing what he says was that the taxman had all the data available to him from all exchanges. Now, he explains the process, and for him the story ended well. But the important things to note were that the taxman had the data. Now, if you think that you're going to a foreign exchange and you hope and pray that they are not going to reach out to those foreign exchanges, let me just tell you that most of the owners of these foreign exchanges are on world tours trying to prove how compliant they are and how regulation is really important for them. So do you really think that when they get a notice from any government, they are not going to comply? And especially from a big government like India, where crypto adoption is huge, they don't want to piss anyone off. they want to have operations in India. So you can be rest assured that the government will get the data. You can be rest assured that the taxman will have the data. So it's in everyone's best interest for all of us to be as compliant as possible. We are normally compliant in all other aspects of our life. Why not in taxes as well? uh, if we are making, crypto is very, very beneficial when you're making good money, and if you've made losses, there's nothing for you to be worried about, right? So that's the perspective that I'd like to add. The other thing that I would like to add is that most exchanges in India have made the process of TDS extremely easy. So the onus actually is not on the trader or on the exchange user to actually sit and compute his TDS. It is actually deducted, or it's been audited by the taxman. It's been we have a very good mechanism in place where the TDS is deposited every night to the government of India. Foreign exchanges don't have this mechanism in place. So make good use of all the facilities that have been provided by Indian exchanges and by tax startups such as Avinash's, so that you're on the right side of the law. It's as simple as that.
Right. I think it's very important to note that compliance is a step towards regulation. And if we do our bit, then it also makes the process easier for the government to introduce regulations in a very positive ecosystem. So now coming to tax nodes, Avinash, when the like you mentioned that the taxes were already there, but last year they introduced a special category. So before that, people were largely unaware of the whole taxation for virtual digital assets. But after the announcement last year during the budget, people became more aware and they started researching on the whole topic. But now, in terms of adoption, India is seventh largest in the world, and even though there was a bear market, people did like people were on the track to buy crypto, accumulate, and trade. As compared to other countries, we still are quite ahead. But did you also identify that calculating taxes as a category would start getting popular? Because the I would say the announcement by the government, it did provide some clarity, and people would expect to calculate their taxes like they do for their regular income, etc. But did you also sort of foresee that for crypto they would need like a special category of platform where they would want their taxes calculated because they would face challenges of being done manually, etc.? So I mean, what was
Yeah,
your
yeah,
idea behind this?
yeah. So basically, I think two, three things here. First of all, when I started or when I was thinking about starting tax notes, okay, the overall theme is that the crypto industry or the Web3 industry, uh, we need to really, really work on the taxation, regulation, compliance piece. It's a very big piece, and taxation, individual taxation is, I think, only one part of it. Okay, for example, corporate governance. I mean, we have seen FTX going down because of if you would have been into India normal financial institution, there are checks and balances there. So my view is that on this overall theme of regulation, compliance, taxation, crypto industry is maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe at 1.5, 2. Okay, and if we have to become mainstream, so to say, then this part needs to move from, let's say, 1.5 to 7, 8, 9. Okay, and significant amount of work needs to be done in this entire space. Taxation is one part where at least we are saying that okay, people who are investing in crypto, they are on the right side of the law. Okay, they are paying their taxes, and so we started from there. Uh, Second thing is that if let's say if we compare to a stock market, okay, what happens is that in stock market, uh, you trade on a particular platform. You don't transfer your, let's say, shares, so to say, from Zerodha to, let's say, Sharekhan. Okay. Uh, but that is the main theme in crypto. You transfer, you buy from WazirX, transfer to some other exchange. You buy from some other exchange, transfer to WazirX and do the trading, which makes the calculation complicated. Okay. Which makes a complicated and manually it becomes very, very difficult. So what we said that okay, we'll basically take everything we'll bring everything, all the transaction at one place, We'll use technology to reconcile, to make sure that the data is complete, customer is not missing any data points, and then based on that calculate taxes as per the current law. Now, the current law is more complicated than the previous law in the sense that if set off is not allowed, carry forward is not allowed, then it becomes more complicated as to how do you compute tax. So as tax node, I think this is the first step helping individuals to file taxes.
Right. So I think that makes sense. But I think what I would also like to know is what is the USP of TaxNodes? Like, how does it stand out? If people were to choose your platform and choose your platform to have their virtual digital assets taxes calculated, then why would they do that?
Yeah. So actually, I think 2 points. One is that experience of the team. I think particularly my experience, I have a finance, so I believe that I have a finance background, so I understand finance taxes. Plus, I'm into crypto from last more than 5 years now, around 6 years basically. So I understand how the ecosystem works. I understand how the transaction flows. Which, if you go to a normal chartered accountant, their understanding will be slightly less, or like not large number of people will be there who understand both financial part of crypto and business part of crypto. And that we have tried to build on in our platform, basically when the way we calculate. So that is, I think, the one part number one. Part number two is that what we are again trying to do is that we are trying to do end to end. Okay, calculating crypto taxation is only step number one, basically. Then you have to file your return, which we will have customers to file the returns. Okay, if you have a crypto income, certain customers will require tax audit. Okay, for which they will also need to basically prepare books of accounts as per the tax laws. So there also we'll provide, obviously with our partners, we'll provide help in terms of books of accounts, tax audit. And I think the most important part is which Raj was mentioning, the Namesh story. There is a significantly increased chance of people who are investing in crypto getting notices from the income tax department. Okay, and here the thing is that there is lack of understanding, or say like maybe lack of understanding, maybe like there is a learning curve, both for the assessing officer, income tax officer, and the person who is receiving the notice. Okay, as to how crypto works, how crypto taxation works, how the calculation works, and all that. Okay, that process needs to be like smoothened. If you're not able to explain to the officer properly as to what are the transactions, and even the officer doesn't have like a significant amount of experience in dealing with crypto taxation, then any friction there will ultimately be detrimental to the customer only, basically. Okay, so that part, so we are covering that part also, that will help customers to prepare or for the assessment when the notice comes, basically.
I think that's pretty interesting because the knowledge gap, if it exists on either part of the stakeholders, then it becomes a problem for the investor at the end of the day. And if that is solved, I think a huge step is covered in terms of filing returns, because then they are not susceptible to any sort of violations of whatever policies that are existing in the taxation in India. So on that note, I would also want to know from Raj, in your sort of experience, or if you have heard or read about any of the stories about common mistakes that people do while filing tax returns. So if you have known someone in your network, or something that you anticipate that people might be doing wrong, what are those mistakes?
So from my experience, what I can tell you is there are two people that you should not lie to. One is your tax consultant, and two is your doctor. So these are the two guys that you should be absolutely truthful as possible, because one protects your life and the other protects your investments. The last thing you want is to actually make some very, very silly error just trying to, some people think that if I don't show crypto, it'll just go away. So which is and it's a little it's a very very silly notion, but some people, you can't govern how people think, but that's the way it is, but it's not going to go away. uh, you know uh, the government has come to, the tax department will come to know about it. So that's the first thing, be absolutely upfront about it. Declare, and it's easier and it's better and safer to err on the side of caution. थोड़ा और टैक्स भर लिया तो कुछ नुकसान नहीं होगा आपका, and if there is a mistake, it will always come back to you, as refunds. And nowadays refunds are also happen really very quickly. So first is be honest, two is err on the side of caution, and three is file it on time. What happens is most of us are very good at procrastination. We wait and we wait and we wait for the last possible day. Form 16 aa gaya, but we send it on the last possible day, and then your CA is swamped with hundreds of returns to be filed. These are not practical things that can be avoided if you keep everything in order. Now the financial year is already closed. All you're waiting for is your Form 16. So just keep your account statements ready. Keep your crypto statements ready from wherever you're trading with. Just keep it all ready. All you need is your Form 16, and then keep Avinash's number handy. Send it to him in advance. So you have everything ready, and you can process your tax returns as quickly as possible. And the most important thing is that towards the submission dates, even the income tax, the site slows down. These are all practical things that happen, because hundreds and thousands of people are filing at that same time. So avoid all that stress. Be organized about your life. Download your statements, send it. Start working with your consultant as early as possible. Keep everything ready and file it as quickly as possible.
I think two of the mistakes that you mentioned that people commonly do, which is, not filing accurately, or maybe filing more than they were supposed to do. I think that can be solved by TaxNodes, right? If I'm not wrong, because it just does the accurate calculation, and then there are less chances of you actually ending up, filing more than you would ideally do for your assets. So that's already solved. That's already taken care of by TaxNodes. Then comes the meeting the deadline part, because you are waiting till the last minute. So I think if you are already have some tool in place, you don't have to sort of rack your brains about how you're going to do it. There's not a lot of hassle, and there's assistance as well, like Avinash mentioned. So I think it's just easier to get it done that way. So I think it's good that we have merged this, and sort of trying to avoid all the mistakes that Raj said, that he can anticipate for investors. And I think it's great that TaxNodes has all the solutions handy. So overall, it's a win-win. Now, I think coming
Avinash
back,
also, no? Let's ask. We have the CA here on the show. Let's ask him also what mistakes we should avoid.
Actually, I have one point. Which is very very important, is that don't wait for the last date, and it is more important for crypto because I'll tell you it is more complicated. Okay, we have built a technology solution, but what happens is that we analyze the data and we see that there are some transactions missing. Okay, and that's when the problem starts, because if the transactions are missing and our system, we are analyzing, they saying that okay, these are some transactions which you have not reported or which are missing. Okay, now that loop, closing that loop may take time, because you may go somewhere, you may try to find the data may not be available. You, let's say, go to the exchange, ask them for the data. Okay, that entire process might take time, and that's why it is better to do it earlier rather than later, to have some time that if there is some mistakes, that you have missed some transactions from getting reported, because we'll know through our reconciliation that there are some transactions missing. So better to do it earlier. Second is that I think Raj covered this point. Although the tax guy, there is a learning curve for the taxman, for the assessing officer, but they have 7, 8, 9 years to learn. So don't think that that if you have not reported and they have not noticed on year 1 or year 2, that they will never notice. They will notice at some point of time. They have enough time basically. So it's better to be like proactive and disclose everything rather than taxmen knowing after 2 3 years, because that is very very painful. I mean, sometimes interest plus penalty plus tax is more than the amount you have earned. I mean, you have earned 100 rupees, 30 rupees is tax. After 3 4 years, your tax will be 120 130 rupees, including tax plus interest plus penalty, basically. So it's better to have like that peace of mind that okay, you have paid the tax and that's it.
Okay, so I think two takeaways from this would be: do not wait till the last minute, don't procrastinate, do your research and do your whole thing on time, so that even though the whole taxation process is done automatically very smoothly, you still have to submit the documents on time in order for that to happen on time. And the next one is, do not forget to disclose all your investments and trades, because you don't want to be penalized 1 year, 2 year, or even 10 years down the line, because that doesn't look good. And you could also, like Raj said in the beginning, you could end up in jail. So yeah, not an ideal situation. So now we can talk a little bit about this partnership. So, the whole idea behind partnering with TaxNodes was simplifying the tax filing process. But I want to know from both Raj and Avinash, how does it sort of merge with the mission and vision of your individual organizations? And how do you sort of see this benefiting the users?
So I'll go first. WazirX, as everybody knows, our mission is to make crypto accessible to every Indian. And we are also one of the most compliant exchanges in India. So it was in our interest to provide the best solution to our users. Avinash has been a veteran of the space. He's been around for a long time. He's with WazirX. He's been seen the highs and the lows. So he's got a lot of scars on his back. Which goes with the territory. So the idea was to tie up with the best in the space, and offer the best solution in an integrated package to our users. So we have 15 million users, and the idea was to provide them this window of opportunity, and we'll be working very closely with Avinash and his firm to give really good deals to our users. First of all, the services are going to be excellent, and two is great value for those services. That's the entire long and short of this partnership.
Okay, sounds good, Raj. And what about you, Avinash?
So I think my vision at least is that, or TaxNodes' vision is that uh, we want to help crypto ecosystem to be as compliant as possible. Although there are some gray areas in the law, which we work with the government to clarify. In fact, the entire industry, especially WazirX and the other exchanges, they help there. So the idea is that help customers, because what I believe is that large number of customers or large number of people, they don't want to violate the law. It is difficult. There is lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, which prevents them from complying. So our endeavor is that we help them. We explain to them. We help them basically compute the taxes and obviously provide value for money while doing this this activity. So that is what I think our objective is.
Right, and I just want to say that we at WazirX are very excited to have partnered with TaxNodes, and thank you so much, Avinash, for this. I think let's move on to the last question of this session, because I think we have spoken at length about taxation, the ecosystem, from the regulator's point of view as well, and what cautions investors should exercise. But let's talk a little bit about some of the changes that have happened in the last 1 year. So after the tax policy was announced in the budget, there were tax platforms which have emerged, like the ones that we are witnessing right now, like TaxNodes. We also saw some partnerships, like the one that WazirX and TaxNodes have done right now. So they have joined hands to simplify taxation for users, and there are other partnerships like this which also exists in the market right now. Now, this is not something that was there maybe more than a year ago, and we also are anticipating a lot of regulatory changes now that India is the president of G20, but also overall globally there are a lot of developments happening. So how do you see these partnerships, such as like the one like ours, like WazirX and TaxNodes, evolve over a period of time, because taxation is just one aspect, and then there might be some sort of I would say changes to it, or maybe not. We don't know that yet. But how do you see these partnerships evolve over time?
So
So
I'll
you
go
can,
first.
yeah, sure.
So this is the first. So if, as you said, this is what is happening is very very clear. India is taking baby steps towards regulation. So first we had tax rates in place. Then you had the industry bought under PMLA, which means that we have to abide by certain rules and regulations. And as early as I think February first week or March first week, I don't remember, a secretary, a leading finance ministry secretary, said that crypto regulations are inevitable this year. So what is happening is that the entire sector is going to be regulated, and once that happens, there is going to be an explosion of growth in this space, because then the rules are in place. People who are sitting on the fence waiting for regulations to happen, high net worth individuals, industry, family offices, VCs, a whole lot of guys will get into the space. The sector will just explode. So the idea of this partnership was to provide our users with the best, and also we are also taking baby steps. First is get work. This is the first step towards a bigger and better association. This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, as they say in Casablanca.
Yes.
Thanks, Raj. Yeah. So yes, it's a beginning of a beautiful relationship, and so actually there are two, three parts to it. One, as Raj said, that there are lots of regulations are coming, and basically, end of the day, government would like to regulate crypto like any financial institution. Okay, and whatever steps are being taken, it's like we are moving towards that direction. That means the finance and compliance team in any exchange needs to be very, very robust. And unfortunately, what is happening is that there are not lots of hardcore finance people into crypto. I mean, there are hardcore finance people who are on the business side of crypto, who are doing participating, but not on the traditional finance taxation side of crypto. Okay, there are not many auditors who understand crypto. They understand audit, but they don't understand crypto. So we need to build that entire ecosystem. So on the one side is helping customer, but I think on the other side, building ecosystem which can support exchanges. For example, not many people know crypto accounting. Okay, and even the institutes, basically the CA Institute or other outside India's Chartered Accountant Institute, they have not formed up guidelines as to how do we like deal with finer points of accounting. So that entire part, I think, is the next step that where I think TaxNodes can help in terms of building those systems and executing those systems going forward.
Right. That's well summed up, Raj and Avinash. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. I think this was a great session filled with a lot of insights from the taxation perspective. And I just want to say that whoever, if you are a trader, investor, make sure you know what all you're liable to, and make sure you file your taxes on time. We have a smooth process in place which automates all your taxes, so you don't have to go through it manually. TaxNodes partnership is supposed to be making things easy for you, so please don't delay your taxation filing, or try not to not disclose your investments or any part of your assets that you have invested in crypto. That's all that there is to say. In conclusion, maybe Raj and Avinash would like to say one or two sentences.
Yeah, I had a very good time speaking with Avinash. He's an old friend, and we'll rock together. And thanks for hosting us, Shravana.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for hosting us, Savana. I second Raj's view, and I think Web3 and crypto space is the future. I mean, it's going to be bigger than internet, and we are, I think, all of us are fortunate to be an early part of this journey.
Yes. And we are equally excited to have you here, Avinash. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much, Raj. Yeah, that's all. And as always, if you have any questions, you can write to our support team, and If you have any further queries, you can always tweet to us on our social channels. We will be solving your queries. And I think that's all for this session. Hope you all have a smooth time filing your taxes. And yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye bye.